Hey guys, welcome to the channel, and in today's video we are going to be talking about everything you need to manual transmission swap your Geo Tracker or Suzuki Sidekick. Now before we get started, I need to tell you two things. First of all, I am not manual swapping my Geo Tracker. I'm actually just body swapping it, so that's why I can't give you a whole how-to on a manual transmission swap, but I can tell you exactly everything you need and how to do certain things so that you can complete your manual transmission swap. The second thing I need to tell you is to ask you to please subscribe to the channel. It's free to do so. There's no obligation. You just hit the subscribe button and then you can follow along with the Clyde 2.0 build. And also, please just leave this video a like because it really helps out a lot. I'm not trying to get rich, but I enjoy doing this and I want to be able to keep on doing it. So, if you could please subscribe and like the video, that'd be amazing. So let's get into it. Okay, so this is not going to be in any particular order. I'm just going to start listing things off that you need, and then you can write your own checklist and just go from there. But I think I pretty much have every single thing covered that you need and that you need to do to complete the manual transmission swap. So the first thing you're going to need is pretty obvious. You need a transmission. You're going to need a transmission to do this. But along with that transmission, you do not need to go buy another transfer case. The transfer case for the manual transmission and the automatic transmission are the same. So you need a transmission, but you do not need the transfer case. Unless you're doing a four-wheel drive swap and you don't have a transfer case, then you need one. But if you have an auto four-wheel drive, that transfer case is going to work. The next couple things are pretty obvious too, but I got to make sure that people got all their boxes checked. You're going to need a flywheel, a clutch, and a pressure plate. So if you don't have those things, you're going to realize, oh yeah, I need those things. So make sure you have those three items as well. So the next things you're going to need is obviously the pedal assembly. At the very least, you're going to need the clutch pedal assembly on these Geo Trackers and Suzuki Sidekicks. As long as you don't have a Sport, it's going to be a cable actuated clutch. So you're going to need the clutch cable and you're going to need a clutch pedal. And if you can get the brake pedal as well, that's a plus. Because if you get, your auto brake pedal is much bigger. I guess you can cut it if you want, but somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah. If you can get the brake pedal too, that's a plus. Not really necessary, I don't know. I'm not 100% sure. You gotta at least have that clutch pedal no matter what. Brake pedal's a bonus, I think. I didn't do much research on that, so yeah, you might want to take that part for a grain of salt, but the rest of this, I'm for sure on. So when it comes to mounting the clutch pedal and the clutch cable, everything's already there. Everything's in there, so you can bolt up the clutch pedal inside. And also, this is an automatic. It already has this hole and the two bolt holes that are, pre-threaded and everything for where the clutch cable bolts to. Now, there are some special brackets, I think, I'm not 100% sure, that you run the clutch cable through up by the radiator. Mine has always just been zip tied to the radiator supports, so that's not really necessary. You can do some more digging on that if you really want them. On top of that, you're going to need that bracket right there that mounts to the engine and the transmission. Hopefully if you buy a transmission, it just comes with that. That's for the clutch cable, and you will need that. As you can tell, my Crossmember is different, but if you're swapping the manual transmission into an automatic chassis, you don't need a different Crossmember. The Crossmembers are the same, so you don't need to get a different one. The manual transmission setup will all bolt in. You're good to go. You don't need a different Crossmember. Now, you will need the drive shafts from the manual transmission, no matter what, because they are different sizes. So you will have to change drive shafts out or have some made, or something in that order. So another thing that you're going to have to do is you're going to have to cut the hole for the automatic, where the automatic shifter came through, you need to cut this hole 1 inch forward and 1 inch to the right. I read that somewhere, and I believe that is going to be true. I know you're going to at least have to cut to the right. If you have a body lift, you might not have to cut forward, but to be safe, 1 inch forward, 1 inch to the right. Well, now unfortunately it's raining. I thought it was going to be a decent day, so we're going to sit inside and talk about the next few things. So this is the front half of the center console for the automatic. This is not going to work for the manual transmission. For the shifter that comes through, it's not going to work. It's completely different. Now, you can cut it out and make it work, make your own shift boot. That's probably what I'm going to do myself. But just to let you know that the center console is different. Just the front half is different. The rear half's fine, but this section is different. So after you get the transmission installed, you get your clutch pedal installed, and everything to go with it is installed, and you're ready to go. You think this thing's ready to drive lanes are in, it's all good. There are a few other things that you have to address. I mean, you don't have to, but you probably should. And that is a neutral safety switch or the clutch safety switch. So obviously a manual has a clutch safety switch, and an automatic has a neutral safety switch. Now, which I'm going to do, is just leave it unplugged. Don't even worry about it. And you just won't have a clutch safety switch. But if you want a clutch safety switch and you want it to work, then you're going to wire the clutch safety switch into the neutral safety switch. And then it should act the same. That's what I've read anyway. I'm not going to go that route. I'm just going to bypass it by not using it. But if it's something you want to do, that's what I have read that you need to do to fix that. So another big thing is the ECU. You don't have to change out the ECU. You really don't need to. You can use the automatic ECU when you manual swap it, but now there are potential issues. You can get a torque converter circuit code, and that's basically because it's not going to lock up or anything, you're going to get that code. And if you can just live with it and you don't care that check engine light or anything's on, don't worry about it. Now, if you are worried about that, just change out the ECU, or B, you can do some digging on the forums and figure out how to bypass that. I'm not sure how to do that. Obviously, I have the 16 valve, and I'm going to have to swap ECUs anyway, so I'm not going to get into that. But that is a potential problem you're going to have, is torque converter circuit code come up. I'm not sure. I've read this that, might put it in limp mode and stuff like that, but I highly doubt it. Especially, let's say you have an 8-valve motor. I don't see that happening at all. Even with 16 valve, yeah, I just think these rigs are a lot more simple than that. And, I just read that on a few forums, but I disagree. In my opinion, I disagree that that's going to happen. So another thing you're going to need to do is wire in a backup switch so that your backup lights work. I don't have reverse lights, but I'm going to want reverse lights. So that's something that I'm going to do. And this will be in a future video of mine, is, wiring in all this stuff, because I'm going to have a lot of wiring to do and I want things to work right. So if you want backup lights, there's multiple ways of doing it. If you're not good with wiring, you can put it on a switch. That's an idea. Heck, that might even be what I do, just because it's a wheeler. But if it's a daily driver and you want it to be right and good, then you're going to have to go through that and wire up this backup switch correctly. So this one, I'm not 100% for sure on, but I've read that there's a 5th gear switch, which when you're in 5th gear, it doesn't actuate EGR or something. This is just another thing I read on a forum. I'm not 100% sure, but if you're curious about it, obviously go do some digging, read about it. It's not something I'm gonna have to go through because I'm ECU swapping, and I'm just body swapping and putting all the wiring out of the 97 into this one. So I'm not gonna fight that issue. but from what I read, that is something that you want to address, is this 5th gear switch. I can't tell you if it's real or not, but everything I read, it's there. You know, it could be a joke. But if you do know, you know, just comment below. Then people can go down there and read and they can be a little more familiar with it. I'm just trying to make it easy. I see this question asked a lot of what's everything you need to manual swap your rig. I gave you the basics. Now I'm just giving you some of the more technical stuff. A few other things I've read is that, you know, obviously there's a transmission and a transfer case vent. You can just cap those off. Most of them are capped off anyway. I seen some confusion on some forums about these, and like, oh, these are vacuum lines. Where do they go? Well, they're not. They're just vent lines. Just cap them off. They're probably already capped off, and it's not going to be an issue to you. That's just another one of those technical things I'm just trying to let you know about, so that there's no surprises. So I just want to run right back through the basics of everything that you actually need to do this. And first of all, obvious things: transmission, flywheel, clutch, pressure plate, pedal assembly, clutch cable, the bracket that mounts to the engine. All the holes are already in your firewall. You're not gonna have to drill or go through the guessing game. Everything's already there for everything to get bolted in. The transfer cases are the same. You will need drive shafts. The cross members are the same, and you do not need to swap ECUs. You can use the automatic ECU, but there's some things that you'll have to do with the wiring, which you'll have to do anyway. But that's the thing to note, is you do not need to swap ECUs if you really don't want to. Again, the center console is different, just the front half. You will need to cut the hole in the trans tunnel. I would say at least 1 inch forward and 1 inch to the right. And then back to the technical things like clutch safety switch or the torque converter circuit, backup switch, 5th gear switch. I don't think they're all necessary. I want to touch base back on the 5th gear switch thing. Is supposedly if you don't have that, it basically, your engine believes you're in 5th gear, like wide open all the time, and you don't want that. Again, I'm not 100% sure on that. So if you want to know more, I'm gonna try to go through and find a link, and I'll put it in the description below to kind of specify more about that. So, if you have any questions, please comment below. Don't hesitate to ask, and I'll try to get to you and answer as many questions as I can. And if you have more information on this, also feel free to leave a comment below to help other people. There's a lot of people that want a man's mission, and I don't blame them. We don't want these auto tragics anymore. Save the manuals. So let's help each other and get all the manual swap the world. I think that's better than LS swap in the world. So that's my list of everything that I believe that you need to complete a manual transmission swap on your Geo Tracker or Suzuki Sidekick. Now, again, please consider subscribing to the channel. We are body swapping. We're putting the 10 top on the Clyde. Call this project Clyde 2.0. And the good news is Trash Panda Offroad and Paul will be here this weekend to help get this done. So it's just happening quick. Super excited about it, and I can't wait to see this done. If this answered any of your questions, please leave the video a like. Again, it helps a ton, like a lot. We're trying to get out there, and I appreciate it. And if you don't want to miss any of the content of this body swap, you can hit the little bell too if you really want to, and then it'll notify you as soon as we have a video up. But I always post a video at 9 a.m. Tuesday mornings every week, occasionally on a Sunday as well. I want to thank you all for watching. I hope this helped you, in your manual transmission swap journey. And, I hope it goes well for you and you get it done. I want to thank you for watching. Have a good one.